Patriots, America has always been a country that wants to dream really, really big. We've always been about expansion, whether it was expansion across the continent, economic growth, and yes, even population growth. But a lot of those trends are now unfortunately in doubt.
Yeah, we saw so much expansion. I think about the previous administration, the progress that we saw was unprecedented. And now Biden, with his reversal of so many Trump-era policies, we're seeing him suffocating those possibilities, Steve.
Yeah. So listen, folks, last night on this show, we discussed the mess that is California with Michael Savage. And I noted that California's population actually declined last year for the first time in all of that state's history. Now, that's a clear bummer for the Golden State, as the refrain of "Go West, young man" no longer seems to suggest the opportunity that once awaited in what is now a troubled and deeply blue state of California. But the reality of population loss is actually much broader than just that state. And sadly, it is a new one for the entire country of the United States of America. As Newsmax.com recently pointed out, it appears from preliminary numbers that the U.S. population declined as a whole in 2020, like California, for the first time ever on a nationwide basis. Now, confident, successful societies, they grow. As a society prospers, people live longer, or at least they used to, and they have more children. But our longevity has turned downward, unfortunately, and birth rates have fallen precipitously. For a look at those numbers, let's get to a Chalk Talk. So these are U.S. births, and this is total number of births. I didn't do it by birth rate here. This is just the total number of births. The all-time high during the baby boom in the post-war era of the 1950s, 4.3 million births in the United States. Unfortunately, started to trend down pretty disastrously and hit an all-time low, I shouldn't say all-time low, but since that high water mark, a low of 3.2 million in 1972. Coincidentally, the year I was born, so at least my mother was helping to contribute to what was a really low birth rate that year. But then the good news is, throughout the 70s, all the way into the 90s until recently, started to climb. We got back up to 4.2 million births in 1990. By 2007, before the financial crisis, we got to 4.27 million births. We almost matched the baby boom highs. Now, we're a much bigger country at this point, so the rate per births per woman was going down. But the point is, total births, we almost got back to that high watermark of 4.3 million. But sadly, what has happened ever since then? Ever since that financial crisis and ever since the COVID crisis, we are trending downward. In 2020, we only had 3.6 million births in the United States, and that is the lowest total since the 1970s. In a lot of unfortunate ways, our country is returning to the 1970s, including birth rate. And listen, we should pay a lot of attention to these trends, because these trends, they say a lot about who we are as a society and what our country values. Are we now sliding toward an existence that devalues children and families? Could we end up in an anti-natalist American version of the novel and the dystopian film Children of Men? Ohio candidate for U.S. Senator J.D. Vance, he thinks a lot about these important macro issues, and he isn't afraid to say controversial things and to make unusual policy proposals regarding family formation, societal happiness, and calling out the leading nihilists of the left. He recently noted that many leaders on the left are childless, and they have, and this is his quote, "no physical commitment to the future of the country." Now, one of those people is AOC. Here's what she went so far as to claim in just a preposterous take. Here's AOC.
There's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult. And it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question. Is it okay to still have children?
Now, imagine this, not having children, not participating in the creation of precious human life because of climate change? But listen, she's hardly alone in that sentiment, because many of her radicals, they echo her statements and her beliefs by the likes of other child abductees like the New York Times' Paul Krugman, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and the teachers union chief, Randi Weingarten. Now, I'm not trying in any way to diminish human freedom, and clearly some people choose for their own valid reasons to not have children. But if our nation is to thrive, then the nuclear family unit must be revered in our society, and families must be prioritized in policymaking. At the risk of sounding like a cheesy song, I believe the children are our future because they obviously are. Now, how likely is it that a bunch of childless, secular humanist politicians are going to really care about the society we leave behind long after we ourselves are gone? Anyone who has had children knows how incredibly transformational parenting is. The arrival of children necessitates incredible shifts in lifestyle and in thinking for any good parents. Things like planning many years into the future and focusing primarily on someone else's welfare instead of just your own. It's not too surprising then, really, that researchers find that parents are much more conservative politically than non-parents. In a large study done by Professors Nicholas Carey and Damian Murray of Tulane, they found that parents are substantially, quote, more morally vigilant and more socially conservative than those without kids. Makes intuitive sense, too. But perhaps even more important than the parental status of these leaders is their mindset. What will make strong families? What will get birth rates rising again? How do we regain the confidence nationally to believe that our children will live in an America that is better than it is today? I recently put forth some of my most significant ideas in an article at the National Pulse, agenda items to empower families to once again live comfortably on one income in the United States.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.